You ready?
1 second.
Is it recording?
It's recording? Yes.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. Start talking anything, just whatever.
Angry Roger Federer denies influencing US Open schedule after rout of Dan Evans.
That sounds good. I'm going to give you a bit more. A bit more.
I've heard this shit too often, says the legend. I'm sick and tired of it.
You know, I saw that today.
Yeah?
Yeah. He said shit at the end. I was like, yes, man.
He's a bit moody.
I love it.
But why not? If
Do it, Federer.
It's passion. Yeah.
It's so good.
And have you noticed how that when they come out, is this a new thing with the US Open? They come out and they're interviewed before the match, and then when the interview ends, the other one just comes around the corner as if they're just coming around the corner anyway.
Yes.
It's like, oh, hello.
It's really good, actually.
Are they really going to give away their secrets before the match and say anything interesting?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not sure.
And the sound looks good here. And
Even from back here.
yeah, that microphone is great. Look at
That's
that.
really good because I'm not even near it really.
This is a place for us to say, and then you tell me what you think about the name.
It's a safe place.
You know, exactly, the safe place. It's kind of like, that's why it's called Unforced Error.
Unforced error.
Unforced Error.
You got no pressure.
Exactly.
The ball's set
So
up. You might not hit a
that's
winner.
That's it,
but
exactly.
you just hit the ball out.
Yeah, so that's what
Yeah.
we're going to do. And I was thinking, because so many times I listen to the commentators speak on TV and I feel they want to say some stuff that nobody says. And this is the place to do it.
And down the pub, they probably do say it.
Yeah.
When the mic is off.
Yeah, this is the place where we're going to do it.
Exactly.
Okay, let's start. Today the topic is, do the big three have it too easy?
Yeah.
So I'm here with Jim. My name's David.
Hello there.
And we had the idea of starting a podcast or a radio show,
Yes.
whatever you want to call it. These days they call it podcast.
Yeah.
I like radio show more, no?
A modern broadcast.
Yeah, exactly. A modern radio show.
Internet radio.
So, Jim, start it off. What were you telling a few minutes ago before we started?
Well, what inspired the idea, David, was really the Roger Federer versus Dan Evans match.
Mm-hmm.
As we all know, no spoiler alert here, Roger Federer won in straight sets a bit more easily than people thought he would win.
Yeah, it was too easy.
And Dan Evans, who's trained with Federer, is a good friend, he's pretty friendly with him. Roger Federer calls him Danny.
And they're very similar in styles as well.
Roger Federer calls him Danny, which is quite funny because I don't think anyone else calls him Danny. But yes, Dan Evans suggested afterwards that the officials are favourable to the big three, which of course would include Roger Federer, in terms of when they play. That the match was played at noon in the US Open. Dan Evans had a tough 4-set match against the number 25 seed the day before.
Yeah, he did.
So he suggested that, yes, the schedulers did show favouritism. And Roger Federer didn't react too well to this, if I can quote him. And apologies for the choice language.
It was great. It was the first time I heard him say.
Yes, it's like hearing your father swear or your granddad.
I
but
loved it.
He said in relation to it, he said, I've heard this shit too often now. I'm sick and tired of it. But apparently I call the shots.
Yeah.
So this is what inspires it, really. Does Roger Federer's team go up to the organisers and say, our man doesn't want to play a night match tonight, he wants to play at noon. It'll give him an advantage against a lesser ranked opponent who has played recently.
Yeah.
So what do you think, David? Do you think there's some truth in this?
Yeah, look, I actually watched that interview a few hours ago, and I was so entertained when I saw Federer. It was actually, I think, before the last question of the English press conference, and he said the word shit, and I haven't heard Federer say shit in a long time. He was a little bit pissed off because these guys keep asking the same question.
Yes,
but
it used to be, when are you going to retire, Roger?
Yeah, it's true. When he was
that up,
was
yes.
down and out,
Yeah.
and then he came back with that Australian win. brutal. But
Lovely.
going back to the topic, it's a very difficult question to answer because who do people want to watch? That's the first thing that comes to my mind,
They're
which is
big box office, aren't they?
I mean, the guys, Djokovic, Nadal, and Federer, they just keep winning and winning and winning.
Yeah.
And in the last 20 slams, it's been 3 winners and two extras.
You don't fly over to
Cilic.
you don't fly to New York to watch Dan Evans. With all due respect, he's a
Exactly.
very entertaining player. But you do with Roger and Novak and Rafa.
Yeah, maybe there is some truth to the question of the interviewer, isn't it?
And
Very
it came from another
obviously.
player, a friend, a friendly training rival.
So there has to be preference. Now, should there be or should there not be is the question. Who are we paying to watch? But then is it fair to all the players? Because still we're watching tennis, isn't it? If we want to be fair, it's about all the tennis players. It's a tennis competition. If we narrow it down to the simplicity of things, what do you think?
Well, life isn't fair, is it? Maybe tennis, like art, should reflect life a bit.
Yeah.
But maybe if you look at the bigger picture, how old is Dan Evans? He's 29. How old is Roger Federer? Hard to
37,
believe.
38.
He's 38. He's got miles on the clock. Should Dan Evans not be able to play 2 matches in quick succession? It was a 4-set match he was involved in. Federer was involved in the 4-set match. Would Roger Federer's team really want to have their man out playing at noon under the blazing heat of New York? He mostly plays night matches, so it's a surprise. I missed the match because I just presumed it would be a night match. So I had my Ovaltine already in my sleeping bag already. So I was a bit shocked when I turned on and it was Brad Gilbert interviewing Federer.
Yes.
And Federer with a big grin on his face. So maybe Dan Evans should be doing a bit better and just take it on the chin, and then won't happen, but he could work his way up to be one of the big 3. So suddenly he's calling the shots and his opponent is saying it's unfair. Dan Evans always gets on centre court or Arthur Ashe court whenever he wants. So then he could have the privileges. Maybe that's how it should. But I do think there's some truth in that when did you last see Roger Federer on court 14 at Wimbledon? And this used to happen ages ago. Bjorn Borg, going back years and years, he used to play on the outside courts even when he was a champion. And these courts were not in great condition. They weren't centre court, and he'd be involved in some terrific 5-set struggles against people who were used to kind of playing on rough environments where the crowd's right next to you, close enough to pick up the ball.
Yeah.
Would you like to see Roger Federer play on an outside court, especially if you didn't have a centre court ticket? Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah, it would be great, but then a problem as well, isn't it? Because millions want to watch that guy play, whereas if we put them in one of those courts, I've been at Wimbledon, for example, in those side courts, it's really good and personal and everybody can watch. There's limited amount of space for people to watch, and then when you go to one of those big stadiums, you get to watch a lot of people.
Definitely, but on the good side,
there.
if you got a ticket for Wimbledon, you didn't get centre court, you'd have a lottery ticket and you could come up
trumps.
My
God, imagine
you could.
that.
Oh, Roger Federer's on court number 7 now, and you happen to be there at the quite early because you've queued up overnight, whereas some Russian oligarch, Russian millionaire centre court is watching Dan Evans versus Tommy Tubbs. It'd be like a great lottery
win. You see, the people,
win.
I like that spirit. It's kind of like more open to everybody. Why don't the people that pay less money also deserve to, or don't get the tickets for the center? And especially these days, with the tickets being ridiculously expensive. It's so hard, especially at Wimbledon and these Grand Slams. It's so hard to get the center court ticket.
Definitely, you have to work overtime to.
I remember 15 years ago. Well, this was a long time ago, but I remember sleeping over 2 nights on a tent.
But look at the empty seats. Look at these millionaires. We've seen it. That I'm sure when Dan Evans and Roger Federer came out for their knock-up, there were empty seats there. Same in football. It's not just tennis.
Exactly. Just because the rich people they buy the tickets. They choose to come or not to come. Yeah. But back to the topic. I think it's always going to be very difficult to choose for the ATP to make those choices and decide, okay, let's put some whatever player that is not the top 3 in the big courts instead of in the small courts.
Yeah, but often these matches on the big show courts at the Grand Slams, they're not even matches on paper.
Mm-hmm.
So Roger Federer, Dan Evans, it was unlikely to be a 4 or a 5 sets classic.
Yeah.
Whereas you go to an outside court and the players are often closer in rankings, you're more likely to get a good game. So should Roger Federer be on centre court every time when it's unlikely he's going to be troubled by his opponent? Maybe save him up till when it's a close match and put on centre court. Let me think. Was it Tiafoe's Zverev?
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking there are some exciting players out there actually that we can put in the centre court.
That was close on paper, wasn't it?
For
and it was
sure.
close. Zverev 5 sets. It's always 5 sets.
It's always
with Zverev. Put him on centre court every time, or Arthur
Grand
Ashe.
Slam, Zverev, 5 sets. You're gonna get it.
Yeah.
So that's a good point as well.
Which brings me to another point about seeding. Do the top 3 have it too easy? To broaden it out, do the top 32 have it too easy?
Yeah.
They're not going to face each other to the 3rd round. The top 16 aren't going to face each other to the last 16, and so on. Are there too many seeds? It used to be until fairly recently 16.
Yeah. Now
there's less and less chance of a big first round clash.
Yes.
Whereas if you had less, I think going back to Billie Jean King's days, there might have been 4 or 8 seeds. So you could have a really really juicy clash in the first round.
Yeah, it's almost like feels like a waste for the ATP to put one of those grands where people just want that crescendo to keep rising and rising until the greats meet at the end.
Yeah,
and it's tough to put it. But I'll be honest, I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind it too much.
You wouldn't mind less seeds?
I wouldn't mind for those matches to happen a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be good, I think, on paper. I think you'd probably get more shocks and more interest early on. And maybe some of those rich people who'd only turn up to the match an hour in would actually be on their seats early on because it's Wawrinka coming back from injury to face Federer in the first round instead of, as it might happen now. Is it the quarterfinals, semi-finals?
Yeah, are they going to lose the top man in the first or second round? Mm-hmm. Yeah, because of that. But how would the ATP go about and make the decision of starting to randomize a little bit these kind of matches? Because tennis nowadays has become such a show, is a business, isn't it? It's crazy because it should be as simple as tennis, but it's not. It's about making money. Yeah. And look at the prize monies that keep rising. We would have to almost kind of put a stop. We would have to cut all that system, break it down, and just start from almost the beginning. Let's just let it go. But then you go back to the 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago, where it was a little bit more like that. Yeah, well, tennis, like all sports, is always looking over its shoulder thinking, that's great, but when Federer retires, when Djokovic, when they all retire, is there going to be the same interest? Yes, God. And there's always these top tennis administrators, they always want to change things, so things have a habit of going back to how they were before. Yeah. But in football, the FA Cup, which was a very big competition until recently, it's drawn out of a hat. So you can face, the Liverpool can face the Manchester United in the earliest round. And it's fine there that there's been no suggestion to seed that. So not everything's seeded. Maybe tennis is too obsessed with seeding and the big guys avoiding each other until the later round. Yeah, it's because it's that tournament for a week or 2 weeks, isn't it? Whereas in football it's kind of like spread all the year. And but so in the FA Cup, they can meet early. There's no seeding. I didn't know about that. Yeah, there's another knockout competition, the League Cup. I can't remember who it's sponsored by now. But no seeding. World Cup, there is seeding, but you can get big teams facing each other fairly early on. So in tennis, it's not happening. No, I think there's been seeding for years and years, but I swear it used to be 4 or 8 seeds. Yeah. And I mean, there's still arguments over seeding, aren't there? Yeah. People being bumped up at one Grand Slam because of their great record and all these complicated things. That's another thing. Is that two favourites? Serena Williams coming back from injury. She's number 48 in the world, and yet she's seeded number 22 at Wimbledon. Yeah. Because they'll bump her up the seedings. I think we'll have to get Ivona to fact check that. But does that make it too easy? Maybe her world ranking should determine whether she's seeded, whether she can avoid these big names early on. Another thing of, do they have it too easy? Have these guys like Djokovic, Federer, Nadal, and a few more earned the right to have this? Because
Very good point.
yeah, because funny enough, when you're looking at and watching tennis as a fan, it's true. Lots
Yeah.
of players are doing great shows. Look at Kyrgios. Look at
Well,
um,
I enjoy looking at Curiosity.
yes, exactly. And Tsitsipas also has been
Yes.
showing great things. Zverev, we got to give
Yeah.
Wawrinka, Andy Murray back a few years ago. Some really good players that they do give a lot of great show for us fans. But then, are they giving enough all the time compared to the guys that give it all the time? I mean,
Obviously not those
you
ranking those Grand Slams don't like.
so it's like when you go and watch a Federer or a Nadal or a Djokovic, you know almost for certain that you're gonna get what you paid for.
Yeah, I think the key word you used there was earned. Another thing for Ivona to fact check. She's typing away in the corner there. But how many matches does Federer play on average per year compared to Dan Evans? He's got more miles on the clock.
So many more.
He's got more miles on his leg. So sure, maybe he should have the right to say, look, I don't fancy playing at 3. Can I play at 2:45? And I reckon that at his peak, he must be playing 70 matches a year, and that's regardless of exhibitions. Dan Evans, I know he must play more tournaments, but if he's on average losing in the third round, he must be playing about 40 matches per year.
Yeah, something
so
like that.
So he should be fresh. He should be able to take on Lucas Puel and then
Great point.
do his best against Federer.
Yeah,
it's a
see, it
cup
makes
final
sense.
for him. This is his final. So maybe.
Yeah, it's incredible, isn't it? It's so difficult to get to a kind of the right
Balance.
answer for the right balance, the right
Yeah.
answer to this question, because yeah, I mean, those guys are really giving us good stuff. And like you said, you completed very well so many hours, so much entertainment that they give to the fans to watch. And then they come, maybe they deserved something. I'm not going to say that's definitely, the right answer or the right thing to do. But it wouldn't be bad, maybe a tournament or another per year to give it a try. Just randomize things a little bit.
This is what
try.
the lesser ranked tournaments, the ones just outside the ATP, are for. They do experiments.
But the pros are not there, isn't it? I mean, the bosses are not there.
And the top pros, Djokovic is very active in the politics of tennis, as is Federer and Nadal. I think they've come back to the committee.
They're trying to get together to talk about this.
Vote to say, hey, we should have less privileges. It's like we have a saying in England, the turkeys vote for Christmas. Of course they don't.
Yeah.
So,
well, even in that interview that Federer had today, he definitely said that it's not in their hands that they have this kind of privilege.
Maybe it's their team who are doing the kind of shouting in the background, and Federer and the Djokovic's and Nadal's just leave their team to it. So maybe they're kind of a bit divorced from it, unless they say to their team, they say to Carlos and Moya, just for example, I'm sure this doesn't happen, unless they say, no, don't fight for this, I'll play whenever. Maybe Tony Nadal is like pulling the strings and Rafa isn't totally aware of it.
Yeah, I wonder. So, look, it would be cool if Indian Wells or Paris suddenly would go. Let's randomize.
Yeah.
Just for this
Let's have
time
no
and
seeds.
see no seeds. Let's see what happens.
Seeds.
Let's just put it in the raffle and see what comes out.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. But what's stopping is the money, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's it. They would lose a lot of money compared to all the other tournaments. So it would have to be a rule for everybody, and I think that's not going to happen.
It could be a spectacular success. Federer and Nadal could play in the first round of Indian Wells. It's one of the greatest matches ever. Or because of this random things, Federer and Nadal never face each other.
Never.
Yes.
And then we would get maybe a final between, Djokovic and nobody.
Right,
and
I was worried who you were going to say that. I thought you were going to give a real name.
I don't know. Nothing came.
I thought you were going to say Medvedev.
Hey,
we'll edit
Medvedev has earned his right.
He's done
for a final.
fantastically.
Well done to the guy.
I think he's getting tired, but he's
yes.
He just can't stop winning, can he? Really?
And that's going to be a very interesting topic. We're going to talk about one of these next episodes, which will be about what the kids are doing and what's the pressure behind it. But going back to it, I get a bit disappointed if a final has like no Djokovic or Nadal or Federer almost. Unless it's one of our favorites, of course.
We all have our favorites.
I wish there was a Nadal Federer again, or a Djokovic Nadal, or a Djokovic Federer.
Do you ever get tired of it? Do you think we're spoiled by these top matches?
Definitely spoiled. It's kind of like
too often?
There are, like you say, the word, isn't it? Favorites.
Yeah.
If it's one of your favorites, one of these kids that is your favorite or my favorite, then it's exciting. Not a lot of players, very few have that spice that you want to see them in the final.
Yes. I mean, we all want to dance with the prettiest girl, and if you go to a big tennis tournament, you want to see your favourite player.
Absolutely.
Playing, and winning too. We've been spoiled. Borg and McEnroe played each other 12 times during their career. 12 times, I think. Huh. Oh, how many times in Grand Slams? Four times in Grand Slams.
Unbelievable.
But another
so
fact check here. How many times have the top players played each other? I think it's
Djokovic,
these rivalries 40 times.
Or so. It's incredible.
Yeah. Does it detract from the mystery, the fact they play
each other? Now we're getting philosophical.
Is it,
because
here's another, every match is a massive match, every week.
Yes, and that answers kind of what I was saying about, I have preference to see Djokovic, Nadal and Federer at the end. Yeah. We need to break from that a little bit. That's why we're also expecting and hoping for one of these big young kids.
And if we had the randomness without the seeding, they'd be playing each other less often. Yeah. So when they did play each other, it would be like fireworks night. It'd be incredible. Yes. Top boxers in the same weight division often never face each other. So when they do finally face each other, these Floyd Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao, it's a big thing. But we've been spoiled with Nadal, Federer.
We did.
Djokovic,
We're
Murray.
So used to it.
Name your rivalry. Evans, Federer, all these big rivalries. So, is it too much? So
we're always wanting that thing.
Too much chocolate pudding.
It has to go back to that random, and maybe a whole year of randomness.
Yes.
Everywhere to see what happens for a year.
Why not? We could have a
Bring it on.
It could be, instead of the year of the pig, the year of the random.
Yeah, year of the random.
That'd be interesting.
Man, if they would put on a vote, I would vote for that. I wouldn't mind. I'm addicted to the great finals because we know we're going to watch that amazing tennis at the end. And there you go, you see. Why are we addicted as well? Because they are performing at the highest level. You put a Federer, Nadal, Djokovic at the end, and they will do finals like that Wimbledon final between Federer and Nadal and Djokovic. It was insane.
Could you name the top 32? Isn't it ridiculous? You've got 32 seeds, and these are the elite of the game. But how many people, even true tennis fans like yourself, could actually have a good stab at naming the top 32? Maybe it should be less, so that their household names, the man on the street could name the top 8. And kind of, is it a bit meaningless that you've got is it much of a boast in the pub that I was seeded 27th at Wimbledon? It just seems such a
it's very long.
Yeah, it's a long list, isn't it? Really.
Sense.
Yeah, keep life simple.
Yeah, I think almost like it's 4 seeds, the top 4.
Yeah, or the ATP World Tour, the end of year championships. I always struggled to call it. It used to be called the Masters in my day. There's 8 guys, aren't there? So that might be quite nice. You're in the top 8 at a Grand Slam. That means you're at the top in the top 8 at that time of the year.
Yeah.
Very simple kind of.
But it's funny. It's not the direction that things are going.
No,
they moved it to 32.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder
but there
if
is
they're
talk. I have read it. This hasn't come from nowhere, of reducing the seeds to kind of get more juicy matches earlier on. And these things do snowball. They start in the papers. Someone suggests it in a cafe, and before you know it, there it is, like the stopwatch suggestion for serving. That's one for a later episode, whether you agree with it or not. Kind of chitter-chatter at first, and now it's happening.
Yeah, I like your opinion about cutting it down a little bit and keeping it more open. It seems to me that the less seeds there are, the more randomness we will have.
Yeah.
So maybe, here we go. Bring on a year of randomness, and let's see what happens with the world of tennis.
And getting back to the original thing, do the top 3 have it too easy? My personal opinion is yes. I think a bit too much.
They do.
Not incredibly
They do.
too much, because
Even-
as you said, they have earned it.
They earned
but
it.
I
But they
would
do.
I would like to see Federer play on an outside court a bit more. I understand that most of the time he has to be on centre court. If he's playing a Frenchman in the French Open, put him on the main stage at Roland Garros. But if it's a routine match he's expected to win in the third round, let him sweat a bit on an outside court, and it'd be great for the little fans who've got the little ticket in their hand, who turn up on time, who queue overnight as you did in the sleeping bag.
Absolutely.
Share out the magic a bit
I like
more,
that.
I think.
I like that very much. All right.
Should we wrap up by saying who we think will win the US Open?
Sounds great. By the way, guys.
Who we want to win the US Open.
Yeah,
That's
exactly. I like
2
that.
points.
And by the way, we are on 2019 US Open, just in case
Just
you
to
didn't
set
know.
the context, in case
Hey,
you're
who-
listening to this in
we could
2030,
absolutely.
and you think,
never know.
Federer could still be around.
Yeah, could still be around, or those kids not knowing who the hell we're talking about.
Random seedings might have happened. You might be confused.
Yeah. So, okay, I'll go first. I wouldn't mind for one of the youngsters to do it, and Kyrgios. That's my pick.
But you think Federer will win?
But I think Federer will win, yeah.
Okay.
What about you?
And for the ladies?
Oh, ladies, I want the 15-year-old girl.
Yeah, good.
Yes, golf is just so exciting.
And will she? Do you think she has a chance?
I don't think so.
We'll find out later tonight, won't she?
She will,
Oh,
yeah. She's young. She's too young. Maybe Serena does it this time.
Okay.
Maybe she's been knocking on the door for that 22nd, you know.
And we hope Ramos will make a comeback for the
my
final.
God, please. And in the final
would be
with
a-
Serena.
That would be a good
Okay,
wish.
your turn.
Well, I haven't thought about this beforehand.
Yeah, me neither.
I'm
You
always,
just caught
always
me.
pleased to see Federer win. It's like
Always.
it's like seeing Picasso
Oh my
paint
God.
a picture. You never say,
Absolutely.
I hope he doesn't paint a picture.
Absolutely.
But I think he's been a bit moody in press conferences.
He's getting tired of the tennis world, I think.
Yeah.
It's too many years.
Yes. Maybe he'll use that anger to his advantage.
I hope so.
I don't think his backhand's as good as it was a few years ago
Yeah,
when he was
2017.
really going through it. But he's hit some good shots. I don't want to copy you at all, but
Go for it.
I think Kyrgios is the person I would like to
yes.
win. I would
Bring
bet,
on the
I would bet
chaos.
money against him winning, so I'd be happy either way.
Yes.
I think the person who deserves to win it most is maybe Medvedev, in terms of
Well said.
he's
been there.
He's clocked up the air miles.
He's
been working
He's on the
overtime.
radar and doing the job.
He's there when the office opens. He's there when it closes.
Agreed. Very
So
quiet.
He deserves it. He's not my favourite player.
Me neither. But
Kyrgios is. But I
it's a
think
great pick.
I think it's hard to bet against Djokovic. I just have a feeling Djokovic will go all the way to the final, like he did a few years
Djokovic
ago,
is going to win
and
40
then lose
slams.
to someone.
So, Hart, Kyrgios, and,
Hart, Kyrgios.
and prediction.
Head, Djokovic will be there near
Most
the winner's
probably.
enclosure
Most
at
probably.
the end. But I'm going to see. I don't know.
We'll talk about it very soon.
Yes.
All right, thank you. And guys, if you have any opinions on anything that we talk about, please shoot. See you next time.
Take care.